Walking these streets, shadows fall, lost in a world, echoes call, searching for light, voices true, St. James Church in the heart of the blue. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel.
Start up. Well, welcome to our 75th anniversaries here. We're with Nancy Anthonsen. She's going to talk about her years here at St. James. So, when and why did you join the congregation?
Oh, well, when Dale and I, my husband, moved here to Marion, he was Lutheran from birth. And,
Okay.
And so when we got married, we were married in Youngstown, Ohio at a United Methodist Church, which is where I belonged at the time.
Okay.
And but he tried, but he just didn't care for their service at all. So we started going to St. John's, and we were there for about 15 years.
And that was in Youngstown?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then when St. John's here closed, well, actually they didn't close, but we left because of the circumstances.
St. John's here.
Yes, St. John's here.
Oh.
Why, when they joined with the LCA and the ALC and the ELCA, all joined together, we didn't like their...
Yeah, there's theology that changed.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and so we left, and we didn't come here right away. We tried some other churches, but the one in Wabash where we went, that was the same story. You know, the people everywhere were just fine. It was the theology that was the problem.
Oh, sure.
And so when we decided to try it here, our very best neighbor had already moved back to Michigan, but they belonged here before they moved away.
Oh, okay.
And so we were familiar with the church. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Pastor Haney was here when we first started attending, but but then Pastor Carlson came shortly after that.
So what year did you join the church then?
We joined in 1988 here.
Oh, okay, 1988. Okay. So,
and it was just Dale and I, because our children were already adults. They had left home.
Oh, okay.
In fact, that year our youngest daughter graduated from Ball State. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, what roles and positions have you held at St. James?
Well, I'll start with Dale because obviously he's been gone a while, but he served on the building committee.
Oh.
And that was quite involved. In fact, it took a couple of years. I think the first plans that they made, I think they found that it's going to be too expensive to build the building that they wanted. But so then they had to start from scratch.
Oh.
But it took a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was very involved with that. Like I said, it took about 2 years.
Wow.
And then we both belonged to the choir.
Oh, okay.
We had sung in the choir at St. John's, and also when we came here, then we started singing in the choir too. Linda Kretzinger wasn't our choir director at that time, but soon she came here and started working with the choir.
Oh, okay.
And Oh, let's see, what else did Dale do? As I said, he was with the choir, and we did Forever Young and Sunday school classes
Oh,
too.
okay.
And then as far as me, I've been involved in a lot of stuff. Not the building committee, though.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have anything to do with that. Altar Guild, of course, again, I was on the Altar Guild at St. John also.
Oh, okay.
And Kids Hope, and
Oh.
just as a prayer partner with
Okay.
Kids Hope, with the sewing group, with VBS for years and years and years. And I can't say enough, again, other people who have been interviewed have said too about Phil Roselle and his organization. And throughout my years in church, both growing up and as a teenager, and in the churches in Canfield and in Youngstown. Canfield was where Dale and I actually both grew up. Why help with Bible school all through my growing up years, and Phil's was the very best because, and we used to have Bible school for two weeks.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
Wow.
and so it seemed like it went on and
I was
on
about to
and
say,
on,
a week seems long.
and it wasn't all that organized. And by the time it was over, you were just glad it was over.
Oh.
But anyway, Phil, and I tell everybody from any church that I attend, why I can't believe how wonderful it is helping with Bible school under Phil's organization, because it's just great. It's so pleasant, and the kids are well occupied, and they seem to love every step, and I think it makes them feel really grown up that they go from one class to the next to the next.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
And I've been counselor, so sat with the kids in the opening, and I never help with the skits. That's not my thing either. And then eventually I started helping with crafts, to help with the food. I've done various things.
Yeah.
But enjoyed it all here because it was good.
Sure.
And Phil also had, and not too much has been said about his new life group. The kids that I remember most are the tutor kids, especially the boys, because we fixed supper for the kids before they went into their class. And I don't know what the classes were about, because I never was part of that. But I help with prepare the food. Karen Gannon and I helped. Well, we prepared all the food and then served with the kids.
Sure.
And the boys really enjoyed it because we always had lots of food. Karen was very good at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame that she's not able to participate in church anymore.
Yeah.
And the funeral dinners, I've taken part in those, and the nativity walk with costumes, and also for years over better than 10 years I was co-leader of the Ladies Tuesday morning Bible study that St. James hosted here, and I want to be sure and say thank you to St. James for being host, because they were hosts for over 20 years.
Really? I didn't realize it was that long.
Yes, it lasted. Okay. It was a very well organized thing, and we studied the Bible, nothing else. It was not a gossip group or anything social. It was social too, but we stuck with Bible, Old Testament and New Testament over the years. Yeah.
Okay.
was a lot. I learned a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Sunday school, but I can say I had wonderful Sunday school teachers
Oh,
throughout at St. James too. Some of the same ones at St. James came when they came
oh,
here.
did they? Oh, came
Or
over.
St. John's rather, when they came here. Why they taught
Sure.
Sunday school, like Bill Pritchett. Let's see. I didn't write anybody else down, but you remember or you know Julie. Oh gosh, now I've forgotten. Anyway, she goes to church here, but her father taught Sunday school at St. John's, and he was a
Oh.
school teacher, and
Oh, okay.
he was a great guy. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
learned a lot from him too.
Oh, okay.
Holtz.
Holtz. Oh, Julie Holtz.
Holtz.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So who are some people who had a big impact?
Well, I've mentioned some of them: the Pritchetts, Bill and Laura, and Bill and Cindy Cupp, of course, and Jerry Witten. He taught the Sunday school class that I went to for the AAA class for quite a while, and a pastor named Fred.
Oh.
And Karen Goey was the teacher of the preschool. She
Oh, okay.
and the preschool was Good Shepherd Preschool was in session quite a few years before the daycare ever started.
Oh, okay.
And then Karen's husband got a job elsewhere, and so they moved away. But Karen was an excellent preschool teacher. The kids just loved her, and she loved them just as much.
Wow.
And of course, Linda Kretzinger and the whole Strasser
Oh, yeah.
gang. Yeah, Delva and Paul Lang, Elda and David Ivy, and of course Joe Chambers. And actually, I have to say thank you to all the church officers and the volunteers and the church secretaries who are not given nearly as much credit as they should.
I know. Yeah, they get everything done. That's for sure.
they certainly do. Yes.
Yeah.
But the volunteers, it seemed, and the church officers, some of them are in the same office year after year after year, and they do, not only do they hold the office and do whatever has to be done in that regard, but they're here doing physical things too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So they're unsung heroes.
Yeah. So what are some events that stand out in your mind, some stories that happened through the years?
Well, of course, the building that was quite took a long time, to like any building, new building, why the shell goes up quickly, but then on the inside is the finishing, why it takes a long time. And I know it's been mentioned that the Roselle, their oldest daughter, was married here, and their reception was in the gym area, which wasn't even begun to be finished. The bare cement floors, and nothing was completed at all. It was bare bones.
Wow.
And that was exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
The various weddings, Karen and Tom.
Hemstra?
Hemstra, yes. Yeah. And I did have to, for some reason, we had some chairs, folding chairs from the church, and I needed to get those back to the church on Sunday, and the police were out in front, and I couldn't get in. Oh. They wouldn't let me in, and I thought I was there this morning, and there wasn't anything going on, and it was the the Julia Roberts
Julia Roberts.
wedding, yes.
Oh, okay.
And the police were there, and there was no way they were letting me in. So we had to return our chairs later or the next day. I don't remember when we got it done.
Well, that's funny.
So I remember that, and the special things like the church picnics and the Thanksgiving dinner, and I did serve on the fellowship committee too. When shortly after we first came here, and Marion and Betty Scott were in charge of the fellowship committee then, and so I worked with them. Betty her health was beginning to fail about that time, so it was we had the usual big Thanksgiving dinner. We got it done.
Yeah.
And Marion Scott, I know it's been mentioned that for the Easter breakfast, why he always did the sausage gravy.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Haven't had any as good since.
Yeah.
He was excellent at that. Well, I'll stop talking and you can ask some questions.
Okay. What are some significant changes you've seen during your time here?
Changes. Well, again, the building. And lots of changes in this section because we've moved things around a good bit. And I mentioned with the New Life thing, fixing the supper for the kids, why the kitchen was in the old, the original spot for the kitchen. And so it was a lot more crowded. But then when there were just two of us working in there, it wasn't bad.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
So I do remember we were in choir one time, and Dottie and Dwayne McClure, that was when their granddaughter, not Becca, she's their great granddaughter,
right.
But Becca's mother was little.
Okay.
And one of Pastor's girls, area that's now the nursery, that it used to be the preschool.
Oh, okay.
And so they had half of it was carpeted, but the other half was tile.
Okay.
And the kids got a hold of some paper cups, and of course there's the bathroom in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so they spread water all over the floor and were on in their sock feet. And so after the choir was finished, Dottie and Dwayne went over there, and the kids said, "Oh, Grandma, I know you're mad at us, but we had such a good time." And I'm sure Dottie can fill you in more on that. They had to. Well, at that time we had the sewing group too, which again I helped with, and we would make quilts. They were lap-size quilts, and we would save them until we had a bunch of them, and then we would take them to various places. Well, we had a bunch of them, and in the closet in the fellowship hall, and so they had to go and they stripped those girls down because they were soaking wet. It was winter, and so they wrapped them in quilts, and in order to take them home. So one of them was Pastor's little girl, and I don't remember which one, but they had a good time.
That's funny.
And
how has St. James affected your faith or impacted your faith?
Oh, immensely, yes. I had a long road getting this far. When I was just a young kid in grade school, and my family and I lived in Ohio at that time, and we had a neighborhood which was a very wonderful neighborhood, but at the corner house was a lady whose name was Jenkins, Mrs. Jenkins, and she had two daughters. Mrs. Jenkins was the widow of a World War I veteran.
Oh, wow.
And he eventually died. He had been gassed and had very bad lungs, but she had extremely poor vision, and so she never was able to drive a car.
Oh.
But she walked to the Primitive Methodist Church. Have you ever heard of Primitive Methodist?
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it.
Well, I really can't tell you very much about it either because I was a kid at the time. But I wanted to go to church, and so my mother would get my sister and I ready and dressed on Sunday morning, and then we would walk to the Primitive Methodist Church with Mrs. Jenkins and her two girls. And it was a lovely little tiny church, but the people were great. And I couldn't tell you a thing about the pastor. I don't remember even who it was. But the first Bible I ever got was New Testament from Grandpa Snyder.
Oh.
No, Grandpa Schaefer, who was a member of the Primitive Methodist Church. And any child who came to church, that was his gift to them.
That's nice.
Was a brand new New Testament. So that was the first Bible I ever had. And we did move to Canfield then later, which was a small village at that time.
Oh.
It's since grown a lot. And started attending the Canfield Methodist Church. And I had a girlfriend whose parents were so willing to stop by on Sunday morning and honk the horn, and hopefully I'd be ready. And sometimes I was, and sometimes I wasn't. and I, with her and a lot of other kids, we sang in the youth choir too.
Oh.
And at that church, and at the Canfield Methodist Church too. Why? I was the first time I was married in that church.
Oh, okay.
And then my two oldest children were baptized in that church.
Oh, okay.
And then before we moved to Canfield, we had more nice neighbors in the Youngstown area, and the Powery family lived across the street from us, but my sister and I were neither one of us baptized yet, and Mrs. Powery was a Presbyterian, and she decided that my mother didn't drive either, nor did Mrs. Powery, and it was wartime.
Sure.
So we walked to the Presbyterian church, which was probably 8 or 9 blocks maybe, and
okay.
I was baptized. I have no reason to wonder. Well, I do wonder, but I don't know why my sister wasn't baptized at the same time.
Huh.
So, but anyway,
that's interesting.
That was an experience. So I've been from the Primitive Methodist Church to the Presbyterian Church to the United Methodist Church, and then after a while, then my first husband and I moved to Youngstown, and we belonged to the Indianola United Methodist Church.
Oh.
Wonderful, again, I'll say wonderful people in all of those churches. They were just great. Yeah. And then my 2 youngest children were baptized in that church. Oh. And then, of course, the pastor who was there at the time performed the funeral for my first husband.
Oh, okay.
And we were also married. Dale and I were married in that church because that's where I belonged at the time.
Okay.
So came full circle there.
Okay. And then you moved to Marion? Or?
Yes, and again, it was when Dale and I married. He worked for a company in Kent, Ohio, which made the little tiny mail trucks. These are the mail trucks that they have now are bigger, but these were small.
Oh.
And it was a government contract, which eventually ran out,
Oh,
and
sure.
it was, let's see, that was the end of the 60s. And again, the government was kind of cutting back, and
Sure.
so anyway, he was laid off from that job, and he got a job with General Tire, and that's why we moved here,
Oh,
because he
okay.
worked for General Tire for about 10 years. And
Okay.
again, the government and things weren't, the economy wasn't that great, so
Oh,
he got
yeah.
laid off from that too.
Oh,
So we had, it was a struggle.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
And I already explained how we got here. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And what else do I need to answer?
Well, so what are your hopes for St. James' future? What would you like to see happen?
Well, hopefully growth. And I think most everybody's mentioned that. But I'm hoping that we continue to. The one thing about the Lutheran Church that I was really, really impressed with was the catechism, because of course Dale, being grown up in the Lutheran Church, he went through all of that.
Sure.
And my kids were fortunate enough that we were part of the Lutheran Church by the time they were ready for that. So all four of them went through the Lutheran Catechism. And I was impressed with that, because the Methodist Church did not do that.
Oh, okay.
There was about maybe 5 Sundays or so that our couple of kids would meet in the pastor's office, and he would go through a few things, and then we would get confirmed, and that was it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very, very brief.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that impressed me, and
Yeah.
still does. So keep
Oh, yeah.
keep teaching
Yeah.
these young people, and also I think I had good teachers in the Methodist Church, Sunday school teachers, but we didn't go into depth with the Bible teaching like we do here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a different age too. At that time, I don't think there was a lot of emphasis put on the youth, and it should have been more.
Oh, yeah.
And that was post-war, World War II. So the churches were very crowded at that time.
Yes.
And there were a lot of them that were just building, and they concentrated a lot on the building, and they needed money, so they were asking for money a lot. And,
that was an era of heavy growth.
I did not like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I would say most denominations, even including Missouri Synod, at some point in the late 60s, early 70s, kind of lost their way for a while. I think that was, yeah.
Well, this was even earlier than that. This was in the late 50s.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, early to mid 50s.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it was a really time of growth, because the young, mostly young men started coming back from the front, and they were in need of housing as well as a big church.
Right.
A new church.
Right. Yeah. Was there anything I didn't ask you or you wanted to add?
Well, I already mentioned about being so thankful to the people throughout my life who have made sure that I got to church. And my parents were wonderful parents, but they didn't go to church.
Oh, okay.
And nor did my grandparents. So I really had no one to take me. Yeah, but I felt definitely the Lord was working on me. He needed for me to be there.
Yeah. God works through His people to get.
Yes, He does.
Yeah, that's great.
And with young kids too, because I'm sure that Mrs. Jenkins and little girls, I played with them a lot, and I'm sure they talked about church, and
Sure.
it made an impression on me.
Yeah.
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 But I had my my in-laws were my first mother-in-law. She was a widow, and for a long time,
Oh.
her
Okay.
her youngest son, whom I married, was well, he was 2 years old when her husband was killed in an
Oh.
automobile accident.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she had a lot to contend with all by herself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but she had a beautiful singing voice, a beautiful soprano voice,
Oh.
and she was a good Christian lady. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Well, it was a pleasure,
Yeah, good to have
and
you.
thank you for all of this, because it's a lot to do.
Oh, it's been fun though. It's been fun.
You have to be the director and
Yeah.
and the producer and the cameraman
Yeah.
and all, make all the arrangements too. So
Yeah.
thank you,
it's
thank
pretty
you
good.
for that, and thank you for all the rest of the things that you do around here.
Oh, thanks. All right. Thank you for joining us this week, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Walking these streets, shadows fall, lost in a world, echoes call, searching for life, voices true. St. James Church in the heart of the blue. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel, hear the call. That is what we do at St. James, breaking chains, singing new names, pushing through the night, feeling small, seeking the answers stall, windows of gray stained with hue, where our mission shines through. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel, hear the call. That is what we do at St. James, breaking chains, singing new names. Heartbeats pounding, truth revealed in the silence, wounds are healed. Faith in motion, spirits move. In this place we find our groove. In the dark streets, hope we find, unity glowing, love unbound.